Hello. Today we're learning Sipur Maisius, the Maisa from the Master of Prayer. Well, back to where we were. Let me just share the screen. There we go. And last week, I believe, we talked about, these are all these sects that try to find what is the purpose of life after the king and his men were dispersed by the storm wind. So last week we spoke about that they said that beautiful woman ought to be king because the main purpose is that the earth be populated with people. This is why the world was created. And being that a beautiful woman arouses that desire, causes the world to become more settled. And since there will be more people. So that is why she's bringing people to the purpose. So they figure out, therefore, a beautiful woman should be king. They chose themselves a beautiful woman. She became king over them. Needless to say, we spoke about it at length last week. So we are on to the next sect. One sect said that the main purpose is speech. Because the difference between a man and the beast is speech. Since this is the main superiority of men, therefore this is the main purpose. And so they sought for themselves a talker who was a great speaker, who should know many languages, should always talk very, very much. Because such a man is close to the purpose. And they went and they found a French lunatic, went around talking to himself. And they asked him if he knows languages. And he knew several languages. Well, such a man obviously certainly attained the ultimate purpose, according to the perverted ideas, obviously. And since he was a great speaker, knowing many languages, and spoke a lot, he even spoke to himself. Therefore, this man pleased them. They accepted him as king, and they chose themselves a land that's conducive for their purpose. And they went there, and they settled with their king. And he certainly, quote unquote, led them along the right path. Well, as we said, obviously, the koach of speech, the kedusha, is huge. It does definitely bring a person to the tachlis, because it is through the ability to speak, dibur de kedusha, you can basically illuminate, the entire darkness. It is so powerful. You can get back to Kadosh Baruch Hu from wherever you are and give birth to brand new moichin, and get taken a kloli, and be mamtik and ameliorate all the dinim. That's Indian that the supplicator, the melitz, is bringing about in the world. He's awakening amazing rachamim from above by his melitza, by his advocation, his advocating, and he's mounting the dinim and all the trouble. However, we know there's also the opposite. Machloikis, Ketrugim, that makes ruch sorrow. Rabbeinu says Torah Lamed Ches, that You remember it so well from Uman. We spoke about this particular term on Rosh Hashanah, and that's why the tikkun, the tikkun of a person is told in the dibur. As they say, life and death is in the language of the lashon. And one of the main things that we have, I mean, I think the main thing that we have, look, every one of us has to go through whatever he has to go through. A person can find himself so lost, so afraid, so unsure of whether he's coming and he's going. And they say that, that's the but Yaakov Avinu, Yivaso Yaakov Levadoi. Yaakov remained by himself, before he met his brother Esau when he came back from Haran, from Lavan. And he went across the river and he remained alone. His nisayon, on the road to the struggle with, the prince of Esau, Malach, was that of loneliness. Leivasar Yaakov Levadoi. There says, Kivyochel, even Hashem left him. Meaning that he felt as if Hashem, is nowhere to be found. It was a special astara that befell on him. And he felt that, like, he has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to turn to. And then the Malach, the son of Esau, fell on him. When we feel this, we have a choice. We can find some sort of entertainment. And it's important. A person needs friends, a person needs whatever. But ultimately, the one thing that a person can always reach out is to talk to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Truth be told, that you can even reach out to Kadosh Baruch Hu in your thought. But sometimes you're so out of it. A person can be so out of it, he can't even talk. He can't even speak to Kadosh Baruch Hu. A person can lie on his bed and be so petrified, he doesn't want to wake up. Wake up to what? Pressures, fears, whatever. But a person bury himself in work or this and that, whatever the case may be. In such a case, a person can call out to Kodesh Baruch Hu, please help me. Help me get out of bed. And when you do this, Kodesh Baruch Hu helps you. Before you know this, that you don't even want to. But you ask Kodesh Baruch Hu to do this because this is what really needs to be done. And before you know it, you get out. Before you know it, your mood changes. When you go to make his beidos, one of the main things of his Beirut is, of course, to do mishpat, to judge oneself. So Rabbi Yitzchok used to say that any kind of mishpat needs to have a prosecutor and an advocate and a judge. It's a must. When you are coming to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to effect proper judgment, when you're coming to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to judge yourself and to get the dinim away from you, the only way to do it is if you have a prosecutor, an advocate, and a judge. So how do you do it? Well, the answer is you stand there, you sit there, whatever it is that you do, and you speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and you tell him that you want to exercise judgment, a trial on yourself, to find out not only what you did right, what you did wrong, that's definitely, but also the way that you look at life, the way that you're looking at yourself. And so when you ask Kadosh Baruch Hu permission, you're giving the prosecutor the right to speak first. And then you start saying the things that you know about yourself. I did this, and I do this, and I did this. And you bring up one thing after another. I did this, and I did that, and I did this, and I did that. And the picture is very dark. Come on. But then you have to give the right of speech to the advocate, to the melitz, the one who can use melitza. And you start advocating before the judge. Remember, you're not trying to be objective here. Objectivity is not the job of the advocate. Like it's not the job of the prosecutor, it's not the job of the advocate. Even though the prosecutor really wants you to think that you're supposed to be objective. Shtuyot. Not only you're not supposed to be objective as an advocate, the truth be told, even if you tried to be objective, you couldn't be. We have within us this kind of voice, that looks at ourselves, from age, I don't know what, putting us down all the time because people told us what they thought of us, their opinion, and we sort of like living out our lives, proving them right kind of thing. So here comes the advocate. And when you advocate, remember, it's not easy to disengage from the prosecutor because you can feel his eyes on you. Schleigitz. And you start. And you say, Boine Shalom. Even in my worst times, I never really wanted to do anything against their will. I was blinded by rage, by madness, by loneliness, by, I don't know, midlife crisis, by I don't know what. And of course, the prosecutor is glowering, how dare you? Well, okay, listen. I'm the advocate. This is my job. And you keep on advocating. You keep on saying the good stuff that about yourself that you don't dare say to yourself because the prosecutor doesn't allow you. How dare you? You know what kind of punishment you're going to get in Olam Haba for kidding yourself that you're good, that you meant well. Excuse me, Mr. Prosecutor. I didn't disturb you. You don't disturb me. I'm not saying that that's the proper judgment. I'm just saying that's the advocacy. As an advocate, it is my job. It is my job to say all the good stuff, which I don't dare usually. And you keep on keeping on. Chances are, when you're being a good advocate, you'll probably start crying while you're saying it. You'll have such amazing rahmanas on yourself. How could they do this to me? How could I treat myself so badly? How could they believe the prosecutor so implicitly, not letting the advocate even put a word in edgewise? And when you're done, I mean, the advocate is saying, you're good. You are good. You always were good. You were a good boy. You may have done shtuyot. Okay, no, everybody does shtuyot. You're supposed to do tshuva and go on. Don't look back. It's the prosecutor that wants you to look back. And the koyach the dibur is so strong. When you touch your own heart, and you have rachmanis in yourself, you feel the rachmanis in yourself. This is also when you are awakening rachmanis and leva elyon in the supernal heart. And then when you're done, you're giving over the right of speech to the judge. And you're asking, Ribono Shel Olam, I cannot pass judgment. Either way, I'm not objective. Either I'm the Yetzer Hara that wants to slaughter me and convince me there's nobody worse than me ever, never was, and there's no hope for me. Or, maybe I'm looking at the picture if it's too rosy. I don't know. And you put it up to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and you just wait. You just wait. You connect yourself, you're listening. Many times you don't even know when to stop talking. Am I going to say now this is the word of the judge, or is this, or is that, whatever it is? Just wait. Wait in silence. And then after a while, you start talking tentatively. And then comes the words of the judge. Because Baruch Hu gives you clarity where you really stand. Sometimes the judge will say both prosecutor and advocate are both right. So now comes, the judgment of, how, what is the proper remediation? The remedial steps that need to be taken in order to address the points that the prosecutor raised up that need to be addressed. Sometimes the judge will say, listen, the prosecutor in this particular case is right, or right about this and this and this. And you got to shape up. You got to shape up. Whatever that shaping up means. And sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, the advocate is 100% right. The truth that the prosecutor is bringing to the table is not a truth. It's nitpicking to make you see yourself as bad. You're a bad boy. Remember that? You're a bad boy. You're a bad boy. You're always bad. You're still bad. You're making this kind of face. You're good a little bit, this, that. You're bad. Wrong. The Sahara is bad. This is what the Sahara is telling you. You are good. You're definitely 100% good. You're good. You're good. Believe the Yetzer Tov. You are good. You're Kodesh Kodeshing. On me? Yes. What about the bad? Okay. You do bad? Do tshuva, finished. Don't look back. With the dibber, with the speech, you can reach anything, everything. But the people, as we say in this Maison, they take for themselves, as king, a French lunatic that speaks a lot and he speaks to himself. It's known from all the tzaddikim that France is the land of Gama Bris. It is through Pram Gis that a person is not able to speak the word. And then he speaks only to himself. The Diburim is not for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Diburim, he doesn't use the Diburim to come close to Hashem. People use Diburim in order for themselves, or to put themselves on a pedestal, and who knows what. The Diburim, the Shechina is in the Dibur. The Shechina goes wherever the Dibur is. It is precious. It is priceless. Or Chas v'Chalila can drag a person down. This world, people, spend their time, internet, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is that people do, reading newspapers. I'm telling you, I'm not going about Goyish newspapers, even Jewish newspapers. 99.9999999999999% of everything out there is either a lie or a twisting of the truth to make it a lie. Oscar Wilde used to say that public opinion is the gathering of the stupidity of all the people and turning it into a physical force. Shtisim va'avolim, shtisim va'avolim. But I think shtisim va'avolim is, you say, okay, beseder, I know, but nevertheless, I need to be entertained. I need to spend my time somehow. We were talking about it. I wouldn't know, what's going on. All of a sudden, I see the azakah going up and down. I shouldn't know what's going on. Well, there's a zakah. You're going to the mamad and finished. That's all you need to know. But being exposed to these diburim brings you down. It changes your state of mind. It changes your consciousness. There's room for shtiyot. Of course, if there's listen, it's in any age. It doesn't matter how old you are. It starts with the machshava. You can be 110 in 3 months and have filthy thoughts in your mind. A person. Dibur. That's the tikkun of Rabbeinu, the Dibur. And Shem Yochai represented, it's the bris of the tongue and the bris of obviously the bris. Shem Yochai was a perfection of the bris. That's why he is the paradigm, the paradigm of holiness and amelioration of dinim. That's why they said during the days of Reb Shimon, speech was allowed. But after this, we learn Torah Chavtesis, we learn it in Kutam Haran. After the days of Reb Shimon, the Dibur was Asr, because the Tikkun HaKlali of the Dibur wasn't affected yet. That happened with Rabbeinu HaKadosh. That's the revelation of the Tikkun HaKlali, the 10 Kapitlach Tilim, which is the epitome of the Tikkun of the Dibur. There's Boidulus, of course. Shem Yisborach B'ezat Hashem will help us, each and every one of us, get used to talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's better those, if you can't, when you can, do it. But in between, a minute here, a minute there, a few seconds here, a few seconds, talk to him. Talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu all the time. Ask him for everything. Thank him for everything. The harder things are, the more you thank and the more you ask. Because if you thank without asking, that's not good. That's the klipa of Ishmael. Ishmael was only good. I don't ask for anything. That's the klipa of Ishmael. Klipa of Esav, but Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't hear you anyhow. That's why they said, Leah, when she gave birth to Yehuda, she said, now I will thank Hashem. The Tamod Miledis, now she stopped giving birth. So the tzaddikim say, she says, now I thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She didn't ask for more. The Tamod Miledis, that's it. She stopped giving birth. You have to ask. You have to thank and you have to ask. You have to thank and you have to ask and you have to thank and you have to ask non-stop. Baruch should help us, B'ezrat Hashem, to speak to Him, to be mikash ourselves to the tzaddik, to bear Kodesh Baruch Hu, to have emunah in tzaddik in front of Rabbeinu HaKodesh. His greatness cannot be fathomed by human mind. To love Him and to connect to Him. It's the only way you can really do what to come close to Kodesh Baruch Hu and do what the Kodesh Baruch Hu really wants from you. As B'chinas Moshe Rabbeinu, you can't without Him. B'ezrat Hashem, we will meet Bli Neder on Wednesday. We'll learn the Likutei Moharan, the first version, basically Wednesday and Thursday, we are learning the same thing, but in Torah 62, but we're going over it, so because it's not easy, obviously, and so when you go over things, it settles in. You can go in B'ezrat Hashem. Every single word that we'll learn from the Likutei Moharan is a Gan Eden. Every single you learn Torah B'chlal is a Gan Eden. Kal v'chomer, tikkun like this, like Rabbeinu HaKodesh. So, B'ezrat Hashem, listen, thank you so very much. Let's just